Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome into Morning in the Valley. I'm Jeff Bidwell. It is May the 30th. We've got plenty of headlines to get to, but we're going to start right out of the jump today. We're going to bring in our guest. He is the first member of the Three-Timer Club here on Morning in the Valley. Here is Paul Oren from the victorybell.com. Well done. We love the merch. Well done. All right, so here's today's exercise that we are going to try to feel our way through the darkness. We have decided that I have decided, and Paul has been silly enough or brave enough to hop along on the train with us here, is that today, basically the last day of the 2024-25 basketball calendar, as all the teams are arriving this weekend and practices for the 25-26 season start next year. So we are going to do a draft of sorts, but also trying to put together our preseason all-conference teams for 25-26. But we are only going to use returning players. This is not necessarily a contest, as much as I'm sure someone will claim victory at the end of it, but more of a look at just the guys that are back that we think can have an impact. But obviously, a whole lot of dudes from outside the league coming in as well this year. They're going to shake this up. So, Paul, before we get started, we kind of gave you the list of the returners yesterday. What was was there any one great takeaway from the pool of contenders here for our preseason all-conference team?
Yeah, well, first of all, there's more guys coming back this year than were last year. So there's at least a little bit more continuity in the league. I say that as the beat reporter of a team that has one player coming back that played last year. This was a challenge a lot. Last year, look, shots are going to be fired left and right toward Bradley's direction just because we're probably going to hype up some Illinois State guys. So
sure. There will be angry people today. We know that is the case. On May 30th, there will be people angry about two dopes putting together a preseason poll of returning players 5 months before the season started.
So last year, I think on May 30th of 2024, we all probably sat here and said, or 2025, excuse me, 2024. Yeah, these years are all, but I don't know which season we're in because again, the calendar turns over in a couple hours. I think we all knew last year at this time that Duke Dean was going to be the preseason player of the year, but it was kind of like, was he the preseason player of the year for lack of any other better options? Because we didn't really know who was coming along. I'd never even heard of Bennett Sturtz at that point in my life. And so I think there's a guy or two at the top of this list who they are going to be the preseason player of the year. And it's not by default. It is a kind of, and again, take nothing away from Duke Dean, but like there seems to be at least a more semblance of talent returning this year. And I say that, of course, again, as the beat reporter of a team that's entire starting five is playing somewhere else now.
I think the number was somewhere around 8 or 9 guys that are returning that averaged double figures last year. In trying to put together a 16-person preseason list, we're gonna have to. I don't know that stretch is necessarily the right word, but we're going to go into the weeds a little bit to find some guys that are going to get opportunities this year that did not in the past. For me, I feel like, and the spoiler on this, maybe, I feel like this draft, if you will, starts at pick number 4. That's when things are going to get interesting for us. But as the home court advantage, I will offer up to you, our visitor, pick number 1, your pick for the and I guess ultimately this your preseason player of the year selection for 25-26.
Preseason player of the year would be Chase Walker from Illinois State.
Talk to me about Chase Walker. Why is Chase Walker getting your pick to be number 1?
Well, I think that it was a huge deal that he came back this year for Illinois State. What a great job. And look, did they find a bag for him? Probably. I think that, by the way, I'm not as hip as I try to sound, but I think that means he got paid.
Listen, that was good. That was good.
And I understand that there's going to be this sentiment of like, oh, he's only coming back because he got paid. Like I've heard that. I've heard that from people around the league. Oh, they got him a monster truck or whatever they got him. I have no idea. Like it's okay, sure, great, but they got him paid, and Kinzinger as well. You can't knock that.
Buddy, we all come back every day because we're getting paid, no matter what our job is.
Wait, we're supposed to be getting paid?
Right. Well,
yeah, here's the deal, because I think the other conversation is probably Kinzinger from Illinois State.
Yeah.
But in a league like the Valley, I'm going to take size over guard play to define you as the player of the year, right? Because Illinois State now is going to have something that very few other teams are going to have in terms of a dominant, experienced big guy. And he took such a big jump last year. Like 2 years ago, I'm not even sure the Illinois State coaching staff knew who he was, right? And he took such a big step last year. You would expect that to continue. And so that's where I think Chase Walker is the preseason player of the year. 15.2 points last year, 6.2 rebounds. Now he's played a lot of college basketball. I think he's going to be but how does he play with expectations and pressure? That will be the question. Not all these guys are guys that are just going to be foolproof guesses here. But Chase Walker is my Larry Bird preseason player of the year. I don't think they call it that for the preseason player of the year. So,
if memory serves, he was supposed to redshirt 2 years ago, and they ended up pulling the red shirt off midway through the year, and he kind of got some early run there as a freshman. To your point, I think he's the guy. I think he's such a unique talent in terms of just there's not a lot of 6'9", 275 condominiums with feet walking around this conference, and he is, and he showed last year that, and he can be a guy that. For all the offensive talent they have, 27 at SLU and 27 against Northern Iowa and 25 against Drake, playing the best competition on their schedule, he really showed up. And I think the part to me that to see him go, I was doing some deep diving today, that he committed there in December of 2022. And he was listed at the time as 6'8", 300 pounds. And he was doughy. We'll call it that. He is now at 6'9" and 275. He is a machine now. And I'm sure Coach Peden, I'm sure there'd be, hey, we can get him in better shape or whatever, but he is so much more of a physically imposing presence now. The thing for me, he averaged 24 minutes a game last year. Can he get that to 30? That's like 35, but can he play 30? Because if he can be on the floor 30 minutes a game for them with the unique size and talent that he offers, that is going to be a massive weapon for the Red Bulls.
And I think 30 could be tough. I mean, for me, I think about basketball in the game of segments, right? And so he averaged 24 minutes a game. Can we get one more media segment out of him? Can we get him 2 more minutes in the first half and 2 more minutes in the second half? 2 notes that I'll say about Chase Walker before we move on to anybody else is, one, he's got 71 assists. He's a good passing big guy, right? That's good. Number 2, he only has 13 blocks. That's something. It's not really his game, I guess, but that's a number that I'd expect should go up, right? As he continues to mature as a basketball player in the Missouri Valley Conference. But I don't think there's any question. I'm not trying to take anything away from Duke Dean, but last year when we were saying he's the preseason player of the year, he was the only guy to return out of 16 from that list. And it was like, all right, well, for the lack of any other better options, we're just going to go with that guy. This feels just a little bit different because there are some other guys in the mix. But Chase Walker, to me, because size is at a premium, he's my pick.
All right. My pick for number 2 on the ballot, I'm going to go with Northern Iowa's Trey Campbell. I think this is Trey Campbell's time now. Titan Anderson just said, just such a force of nature. for that UNI roster the last couple of years. Jacob Hudson in the middle, and he's been kind of able to play that second or third fiddle. But I mean, last year, 11.3 points, shot 43% from three, 81% from the line, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.5 steals. All of those were career highs for him last year. And I just think this is now, it's his time. And part of the reason why he's going to go 2 on my ballot is maybe just as much there's only so many basketballs to go around in the normal Bloomington region. And so maybe Walker Kinzinger might split things a little bit. And I think Trey can step up and really be that guy.
Yeah, you're not going to hear any arguments from me. I mean, without giving anything away, I have Campbell third, but it's a very thin third. It could very well be second as well. I mean, Trey Campbell, actually, you know what? Now that the one thing that you said that has me thinking he should have been second on my list is it's his time now. You know, I've adored watching Titan Anderson play basketball the last couple of years. And if Trey Campbell can do some of that stuff, but he's a different player. You know what Trey Campbell is? He's a 43% 3-point shooter. The guy hit 72 3-pointers last year. He's fantastic, right? He can do a little bit of everything. I mean, 4.5 rebounds per game, 4.2 rebounds per game, the 98 assists, and the 46 steals. He is, if I'm looking at building a fantasy team, Trey Campbell is like a 5-tool player here. I want him on my team because I think he does a little bit of everything. And again, I think just the phrasing you used of it's Trey Campbell's time, you're right. And so without a doubt, that's one of the top 3 players in the league.
All right. Number 3. And I feel like we have eliminated all drama on this one. As we said, the draft will start at 4, but for purposes of we've got to get through number 3 before we can get to number 4, the floor is yours.
Johnny Kinzinger, right? First of all, Wisconsin native, which is important for me. Look at that photo. Look at that.
Find me a better photo in the last.
Also look at him throwing up the Wisconsin logo. I love it. The guy never forgets where he comes from. We don't need that Illinois nonsense in our lives. Love the Wisconsin native. I was shocked he came back. Obviously,
he was like the last guy. You were kind of waiting, and then he finally said, "I'm back."
Yeah, I was shocked he came back. His brother's going to Wisconsin. I was kind of certain that he would tag along and go to Wisconsin, but he is a gamer. He's a baller, and he were to transfer to Wisconsin, he probably plays a couple, 10 minutes off the bench, maybe something like that, maybe more. I mean, I'm not that. He's another guy, that you say, I want him on my team. I just think, that photo right there explains everything of the guy he is a Missouri Valley Conference basketball player, right? He came in, closed out the end of his freshman year strong, not strong enough to win freshman of the year. That was Cooper Schwieger. And then last year, kind of a slow start, but then I look at the numbers and I'm like, guy played 1,100 minutes. He 38% from 3, 90% from free throw. Wasn't even the primary assist guy on his team because that was Dalton Banks. But what more do you want from Johnny? And what you want is him to be a year older. And I think Illinois State will be appointment viewing this year with those 2 guys. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I agree. The thing about Johnny that is, I think if you want to go glass half empty, which I'm not, is he has not shown that, hey, I'm going to go get you 30 on any given night like some guys we're going to talk about. But he had 7 games of 20 or more, never scored more than 22. Like his average, when he averages 14.5, he is not a boom or bust guy. You are getting in that 15-point range every single night. And when his ceiling may be 22, but his floor's 10. Like he's just, and that is, I think, that consistency that helped them, make a significant step in this past year. And obviously they're banking on that to go year number 3 here. Okay.
All right. Let's start getting into silly fun. Let's
now
go.
We get into silly fun.
By the way, we have not shared
no
our lists with each other. So
this is where the eye rolling and chuckling will begin. And part of the reason I wanted you part of this is because I know how seriously you take your postseason ballot and how much work you put into it and trying to put together the most rational and but well thought out and researched ballot. So I knew you were gonna come with thoughts on this. So this one, I am doubling down because I may have been the only person in the league that put him in the top 10 last year in the postseason ballot. I was ridiculed from some quarters when I revealed the ballot, and he was on. I think I had him 7th or 8th. And part of my methodology is also I see these guys 2, maybe 3 times a year with my own eyes, and sometimes what they did against the Racers of Murray make this maybe the water's tainted a little more thumb on the scale with what I got to see. But for me, a guy that I am expecting now in a high-powered offense in Nashville, Tennessee, I am going to go with Tyler Lundblade from Belmont as my number 4 selection. 12.5 points a game, 48.1% from 3, number 1 in America. Went on an absolute heater in the middle of the year. I had a 4-game stretch where he made 33, shot 65%. Jonathan Pierre out of there. They're going to score a ton of points, and I just think he is going to be the guy this year for Belmont.
That was my number 4 pick as well.
Oh, right.
I mean, everything you said, I agree with. I'm just trying to quickly look here at
made 104 threes, one of 23 guys in the country last year to do that.
And 29 of them were against Valpo and one half of basketball. So this was, as you started talking, this is funny. As you started talking, you said that you kind of base the eye test a little bit about what we see.
Yeah.
There was a game at the Arc. By the way, Valpo beat Belmont by 15 in this game, 101-86. And that game was maybe the kind of turning point that galvanized Valpo a bit to go on a run later on in the conference tournament. But in that game, Lundblade was 7 of 10 from the 3-point line. And so you talk about Kinzinger is the consistency. You know what his floor is. We don't know that with Lundblade. Like, he could come in and not, and I think in the other game against Valpo, he had like 7 or something like that.
Right.
But he could have 40 and not even blink. The guy, he is in a game now that is predicated upon the 3-point shot. Give me a 3-point shooter. The guy's fantastic. Now, can he do it again? Can he go on one of those scorched earth runs where he drops 33s in a week or whatever it was? Like, unbelievable. No argument from me. Tyler Lundblade, definitely my pick at number 4. Maybe the draft starts at 5.
Maybe so. 10 games this year of at least 4 threes in a game. And again, not a volume shooter. When you're making 48% of them, you don't need to be when you're making that many. The part that was so impressive for me, that just watching him, is how often he comes off screens and catches the ball 25 feet from the basket and elevates without looking at the basket.
Yeah, I mean, he catches the ball and the shot goes up in one fluid motion.
But his ability to square up while in the motion and then still make 48% of them is just dynamic. So, he was great, and hopefully for Casey Alexander's hopes down there in Belmont, in Nashville, he'll be able to repeat that. All right, number 5 pick is all yours.
Okay. Well, this is a term that this is a word that hasn't been used with this program in a long time. But defense wins championships.
Okay.
And Evansville's got the best defensive player in the league per the voting. Connor Turnbull suffers a little bit from Chase Walker-itis of only playing 21 minutes a game last year, but he had 61 blocks overall. I want to see the rebound numbers go up, but again, the guy does a little bit of everything. But what he does is he's a 53% shooter from the floor, and he's a very good defensive player. So when I think about not only the idea of all league guys, but when I was thinking about if I had a team that could have Kinzinger, Campbell, Lundblade, and then the posts of Turnbull and Walker, that's a starting five I'd go to battle with. And so Turnbull, for a number of reasons, is my number 5 because, I want to see it again. I want to see him do it in more minutes because if you're, he only did 21 minutes. Now, that was up to 24 in conference, but so I don't necessarily know that, again, that because I penalized Malik Dia 2 years ago for this. The guy just couldn't play enough. I think Turnbull will play more, and that's my pick.
I was impressed from the year-to-year improvement to go from 4.1 points, 2.2 rebounds last year, going to 9.2 points, 4.3 rebounds, doubled basically both of those. Your point, 22 minutes a game. Can you get to 26, closer, maybe 28, be impactful on the floor? At 6'10", you'd certainly like to have more than 1.9 free throw attempts per game. But look, there's a lot of positives, especially when you saw the growth offensively for him. He scored in double figures in 1 of their first 18 games, did it in 10 of their last 13. So he really took strides offensively. And then, oh, by the way, as you said, defensive player of the year, really got an opportunity to make some hay there for David Ragland. Okay.
I'm going to interject here.
Please.
I thought the first 5 were easy.
Okay.
I thought 6 through 50 were impossible.
Yes, it's going to get. Maybe I thought the eye rolling was going to start at 4. The eye rolling may very much begin here. I had Connor Turnbull 6th on my board, so I'm going to get some value here with pick number 5 for me. I am going to go to Terre Haute, Indiana, and we are going to take Camp Wagner. Camp was averaged 10 points a game last year, 83 threes, shot 38.2% from beyond the arc. There were 4 guys in the Valley that did that: Wagner, Duke Dean, Mitch Muscari, and Tyler Lundblade, which isn't awful company to be in. 10 games with at least 4 threes, went 9 for 18 against Belmont. Just an absolute home run hitter. And again, I think you're going to, with the graduation of some dudes from Indiana State, and the way Matthew Graves wants to go and play fast and shoot a lot of threes, I think he's just, man, this is peas and carrots with him. And I think you're going to see you can see him making 100+ threes this season.
Yeah, I had Camp 7th on my list, so that we're right in the wheelhouse there of I think, again, you give me 3-point shooters, right? Give me guys that can put it up. And I thought he played really well last year. Such an uncomfortable situation for those guys last year to come in, on the back of the best season in a post Larry Bird world that they've had. All those guys leave, and okay, like the new guys, it's not anyone's fault that they're the new guys. And he came in and man, he was good. And I think he'll continue, year 2 of the system. And I think Camp Wagner will be fantastic.
All right. So our first team, God bless the Valley with their 6 guys on the first team. Our friends at the Ohio Valley have a 10-man first team. So a 6, we'll take that and run for the hills. So I guess technically we're moving now into our second team preseason selections with pick number 7. And that pick belongs to you.
Well, I think this is fitting that I'm going to make this selection. I went to graduation at Valparaiso University this year, and I walked out, and this guy's standing there with his family, and I walk up to him, and I put my arm around him, and I said, Isaiah Stafford, that's the last time you ever get cheered in the Athletics Recreation Center. Isaiah Stafford was
better.
a beast. No, not bitter. It was fun. It was good.
Politely.
He was a beast 2 years ago at Valpo. Really, oh God, maybe I am bitter. He was a beast 2 years ago at Valpo, and a great kid, right? And let me just tell you a little bit about Isaiah Stafford. Like, he comes in 2 years ago when Valpo, Roger Powell gets the job. They bring all these new guys in, and he has like a hip issue early on during the summer. So I didn't get to see him play that much, right? And because, again, like, summer practices are starting in 2 days. I can't wait to get to the Arc and see everybody play. And I remember going and like, he didn't play a whole lot because he was hurt. And I wrote him off. I didn't really think he was going to be anything because, like, I didn't see him play a lot during the summer. And then the season got going, and man, he was must-see TV. He was really, really good. But he got hurt midway through the year, and he gutted through it. He had to gut through it. He felt like he had to gut through it because Valpo didn't have any other. They had Cooper, a very young baby-faced Cooper Schwieger. And so Stafford was a big, big, big reason why. I mean, you can look at a number of different ways. He averaged 17 points a game at Valpo 2 years ago. He was a star. Valpo won 7 games. So you can really look at it. But then he's out. There's question of, like, was he going to come back? Could he come back? Is he getting an additional year? When that started to rumor, was like, can he come back? The fact of the matter is, he was never ready to go last year. He was doing full court sprints in October, but that's where it stopped. Yeah. And he had his knee it has been bothering him, and they got it cleaned up in February. I don't know if Stafford will be Stafford again, but if he is, he won't be on the second team. He'll be on the first team. If Isaiah Stafford is who he was 2 years ago, yeah, he'll be a first-team player this year because he's had the game taken away from him, and you find out there's a different level of dog in you when you have it taken away from you. And I hate that I got to watch him do it at Southern Illinois, but I love the fact I get to watch him do it because he's a good kid, and I wish nothing but the best for him. So, big asterisk on this one, because if he's not healthy, then he won't be anywhere near this list. But if he is healthy, he's probably first team. So, not knowing, I put him on the second team.
Yeah, 17 points a game. Again, played his junior college at Johnny Logan right down the road from SIU. So going back to a place he's comfortable with. I'm interested just to see his and listen to him talk with our friend Luke Martin over at SIU this past week. And he just talked about what he learned sitting and just sort of the mental growth of being a guard in this league and just kind of watching things from a different perspective, and for an entire season to just see, okay, another year older, but maybe just another year smarter too, and see how how he fits into Scott Nagy's system. Yeah, this may be a little boom or bust pick, but I think that's a right on the cusp of first team, second team. I think is really good there for Isaiah. Okay. Speaking of injuries, I'm going to go with the number 8 selection. I had Isaiah at 8th on my board too, so not too far off there. My number 8 pick was number 7 on my board, and I'm going to go with Leon Bond from Northern Iowa. Oh, our first chuckle. Is that I had him, or I'm reaching here with Leon?
No, this underscores the just the grouping here. I had Leon 16th. And the reason why I had Leon 16th was because I kind of forgot about him when I did my first 15. And then I get to it and I think, how did I forget Leon Bond? Okay, I'm just going to throw him on the Valley's 16th spot at the end. He's not the 16th best player in the league. He's better than that. But you're right. There's some questions, from last year. And so I have no problem with him being as high as you have him. He's on my list. He was the last guy on my list because he was basically an afterthought for me, because he only played a handful of minutes. Your pick, your floor, I butted in. I apologize.
No, you're fine. And that was, our first real disagreement, I guess, at least on the draft boards. He had that, I believe it was a meniscus, wasn't a tear, but it was something that, he missed basically a month. And to his credit, and I'll give him a little bit of a bump up the board that, he was like, I'm coming back at the end, when it probably wasn't the smartest decision. Played the regular season finale, I think against Bradley it was. And I mean, he only played 4 minutes. And then the game against Valpo, I mean, he gutted out 8 or 9 minutes in that game. And then when they went to I think it was the NIT with SMU, he didn't play. And that was discretion, the better part of valor there. But look, he is the Virginia transfer, came in early in the year at 22 against UIC, at 37 against Montana. Like, I mean, he is a dynamic, and that's not a sort of, I think, maybe a little in the mold of Titan Anderson, where he can step out and hit some threes, but he's going to get to the basket and get fouled and get to the line. And I just think he was so just such an aggressive offensive guy that again, if he's healthy and if that knee is back and he's able to be what he was in November and December, I think this is a really good one of several really good pieces that you can pair up there with Trey Campbell.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think Leon, for me, gets the opposite of the Lundblade effect, in that I didn't get to see Leon Bond play a lot this year, right? I didn't, he didn't play much against Valpo I didn't go to Northern Iowa this year. Very good player, without question. But again, the next, 7 that are going to be on our list they're all interchangeable parts in terms of the ordering of them, I think.
All right. Let's get Leon off the board here. We're now up to pick number 9 on the board. Who are we welcoming aboard?
Well, I appreciate the fact that I get to do this one, because I will just mention this guy and then I will give you the floor here. I'm not a fan of transferring within the league, because I just, I start to get confused as to where guys are and whatnot. But Javon Jackson goes to UIC last year, and 12 points a game, starts a ton, looks like he's gonna get things rolling here. I mean, he's played I think he's played in every time zone, I think, so far. He's been all over the place. Southern Nazarene, I don't even know what that is. Utah State, I do know what that is. And then obviously UIC. Well, now he's coming down to your neck of the woods. He heard about Morning in the Valley, and he's transferring to Murray State. He's one of 19 Division I transfers, I think. Is that the number that we're looking at? Or maybe it's 56. I'm not sure. There was like every hour for an entire day, Murray State added a new player. And so I don't know where he fits, but maybe you can talk about that a little bit. I got Javon Jackson at number 8.
I did not have Javon Jackson on my board. And he was sort of a fringe, like he was in that 15, 16, and I kind of had to make a decision. And for me, it was more of, I just don't know what we're getting at Murray State.
Yeah.
That's the main question for me, is that, I think and I don't think you can, especially when Ryan Miller comes in and it's just the deck is cleared. And so it's all right. When you're completely starting over, should we read into signing number 1, 2, 3, 4? Are those more important than signing 10, 11, 12, 13? Maybe. I mean, you think, there's some priority to those guys. And look, Jackson was in that, if memory serves, was kind of the 6th or 7th guy they brought in, but I just don't know. Now he also, though, checks a huge box for me from, as I've said 1,000 times, the 3 types of transfers. You get the distressed assets from the big leagues that average 2 points and they're coming down, guys that average 20 points, in the low majors or Division II, and they're coming up. But then you've got a guy that has done it at this level, and certainly in this league, much like Isaiah Stafford. We know he can play. If I'm trying to project, can he be all league? I'm like, I don't know if in the end it's going to be like, man, he's going to average 5 points because he's the 8th man or the 6th. Like, I just don't know at this point. And that was my knock against Javon, but I think he's a huge addition for the Racers in the big picture in their puzzle.
Yeah, I do think, by the way, and one of the reasons why I brought him up now is so we could have this discussion. It's a good conversation. I was going to mention him to he's a Murray State guy, and but he very well could not. He very well might not even be a starter, right? Like he very well might.
Like at this point, practices haven't started. We don't know. I have no idea.
We could be sitting here in St. Louis in a couple months, and hey, remember when that guy who averaged 7 minutes a game? Remember when I picked him 8th in the league? Like, I mean, this is I won't even allow people to throw shade at me for this because I will tell you, like, you don't really know what you're getting. What we see is 83 assists, 48 steals, does all those little things, right? But again, only 25 minutes a game, but he can score, not necessarily at the most efficient rate. So a deeper dive into the numbers makes you kind of wonder, where did all those points come from? Well, he took 306 shots this year, 134 3-pointers this year, and he did get to the line a ton. There we go. Well, there's our first. I've got him on the board. You don't have him on the board, which means there's going to be a guy that you have picked that I don't have on the board. I can't wait.
Most certainly. All right. My number 9 selection, or I guess we're up to number 10 because that was number 9. I got to write him down because I didn't. Like I said, I'm trying to keep up as we go along. My number 10 selection, I'm going to go to Peoria, Illinois, and I'm just going to go on the pedigree of let's just go find guards that are generously listed at 5'8" and just expect them to be awesome. And that is Jaquan Johnson, who all freshman team last year. And again, I think there's part of this, and again, probably tainted a little from what I saw him do against the Racers when Murray State had 2 giant leads in Peoria, and they came back, and he was out of his mind in helping, along with Duke Dean, helping Bradley get the win. But 17 against Indiana State, 27 against Northern Iowa. Again, generously listed at 5'9", but he is a tank. And he is a tank. And I just am so impressed with the way he plays. And I think now that, again, there's a chapter turning happening there in Peoria this year with the Deans and the Hannahs and the Montgomerys kind of going out. And here comes this new wave of guys. And I think Jaquan Johnson has got an opportunity to be really, really good for them.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting, my next pick. But yes, I think Johnson is phenomenal. I think they've got a pair of guards there that are really good, and it'll be interesting to see. Again, I've been watching Wardle for a long time, and he just gets guards that can play. He did it at Green Bay with Kiefer Sykes. He's done it with a litany of guys at Bradley, most of them named Terry. But he did it with Brown. He did it with Dean. Is Johnson the next guy? If so, what a great pick, because these guys just produce. And we said we were going to do this, and Valley superfan Tony Seghetti said out there, like, this is going to be brutal. And probably he said that because A, we realized how many players we lost, but B, he was going to have to hear us hype up Illinois State guys. But make no exception, Bradley guys are legit. And I what I really like that you said is pedigree. These guys are going to get a boost, both Johnson and the next guy, because they're the next guys up. And we know the system's great. And if Wardle tells me that this is the guy that he wants, All right. You've got the track record. You know that this guy is going to be good. Johnson is another Wisconsin native, by the way, right? Yes, Milwaukee, Pius High School. I lived across the street from Pius High School well before Jaquan Johnson was born, by the way.
So the
nobody else in this league can say they grew up across the street. Okay, that's all I got.
Is there any? I mean, there's no 500 yards from his school thing. No. Okay, just want to double check. All right, so that was number 10. Number 11, sir.
I was really back and forth between two guys, but by the way, I had Johnson 11th on my board.
Okay.
10th on my board. And I'm just going to bring him up now. Is it's Demarion Birch season.
Yep.
Here's another guy that he was very good. Look at that. Look at that. Let's get rid of the Jerry West logo and let's have that be the Valley logo right there. That's fantastic. Look, guy after my own heart, from Milwaukee, went to Hamilton High School, which is a high school that had I gone to a public school, I would have gone to that high school. He's a sports communication major, so I think we like him already. He had an injury last year that kind of kept him from really getting going. I know that he's played 2 years, but it's just not quite been put together yet. But he was a starter in the NIT. You got to see a little bit about, when other guys were saying, I'm not playing, he said, I'm in, let's roll. And I like the guy a lot. I think he takes a big step up this year.
Yeah, to your point, just they were so good last year, and he just it had problems kind of cracking significant playing time, but without a ton of volume to shoot 55% from the field and 56% from three, you're like, okay, we got something there. And your point, when there was Zeke Montgomery didn't play in the NIT, he's like, I'll step up. Had 14 against Chattanooga, and you're like, there's a guy. So that is Demarion Birch sliding in, our last pick, number 11, which is the end of our second team preseason. And so now we go to team number 3 here on the first season. So now we're going to get wild now, Paul. I got a feeling. I think in the end, these last 5 picks, there's going to be more chuckling involved. But I get some value with pick number 12 here, as I hit him number 10 on my board. All freshman team member from Illinois State, and it's going to be Jack Doherty. I think that Jack Doherty, I saw him in the season opener. They played Tennessee Martin, and he came off the bench, and I think his first 3 shots were 3-pointers, if memory serves. And he hit it, and he hit it, and he hit it. And I was texting people saying there is a chance at halftime they are going to build a statue for Jack Doherty outside this arena, because this crowd was out of their minds with joy. And then in the second half, Ryan Peden points down to him and is like, let's go. I had never seen a freshman 25 minutes into his career go from the bench to the scorer's table, and the crowd lost their mind because they couldn't wait to see this guy shoot again. He was awesome. One of 4 kids in the country this year, 59 threes, making at least 47.5%, 8 double-digit games, had 5 threes against Martin, again, 25 against Bradley, 7 threes against Bradley. He's another home run hitter, and I know you love the shooting, but I think that my worry for him is you got Walker and you got Kinzinger, and there's only one ball. But I think he is going to be able to step in there and really be a big piece in that they can't guard everybody, and he's going to have some opportunities to really go nuts there for Ryan Peden.
Yeah, well, I did not have him on my list, and it's criminal that I didn't have him on my list. I don't know. It's because there was the Daughtry, and then there was It was the guy from Indiana State, and I get them confused at times, and just from seeing their names on paper. You're right. he was someone who I probably minimized a little bit because of the Walker and Kinzinger Johnny effect of being at the top of the list. But he was really good last year as a freshman. And like you said, we like 3-point shooters. Didn't have him on the list. Wouldn't be shocked if he has a better season than Javon Jackson, given that, we kind of talk about that a little bit. So really good player. I mean, they're going to be the number one pick going in. I mean, I think it's kind of hard now. I mean, we got a whole summer of
felt foregone. It feels like it's not as foregone, but I still feel like it's a very strong, like I will be surprised when we get to October if they're not number one.
Yeah. And it's interesting because it's like they haven't sniffed number one in, any time that I've been around the Valley, but because of Walker, Kinzinger, and now you throw in Doherty and you throw in another guy that we'll get to a little bit, like, yeah, they're very impressive. But again, we got a whole off season of studying these newcomers to figure out kind of where things go there.
100%. All right. I guess we're up to pick number 13 now. And this one is definitely on this guy. If I'm playing against him, walking in the gym, I'm like, that dude scares me. And I just want to see it from him this year. And it's Marcus Harding from Indiana State. Again, when you just talk about condominium with feet, I mean, he is 6'8", 9, 10, whatever you want, 250. I mean, he's just a house. And he just, for whatever reason last year, things just didn't work as well as everybody would have hoped in Terre Haute. 6.5 points a game. He had double figures 6 of the first 11 games and then just 2 of the last 18. For me, the big number is just 18 minutes a game. It's like, again, can we get him to 24 and be on the floor a little more? And I don't know. And it was just such a step back from the amount of time he played when he was at Central Michigan. But look, 48 from the field. He can step outside, hit some threes, which, Matthew Graves is going to loves. And I don't know if he only can play 18 because we're playing 100 miles an hour and one of the fastest teams. And it just doesn't work with his size. But again, from a boom or bust, I was like, I just feel like there's so much room for growth from him. And I think that to leave him by the wayside would be a shortcoming on my part. So I've got him sliding in at number 13.
I had him at 14 on my list. And it's funny because when you said, the phrase of when you walk into the gym and this guy scares the bejesus out of you or whatever you said, I was like, oh, he's going to say Marcus Harding. He is got to be like 23 going on 50 in terms of the way he looks. Like he just looks older. He has what I would call old man strength. And he is a guy, just looking at him again, like if I walked into a YMCA pickup game and he's on the court, I'm going to the sauna instead. That is a punishing body. And if he gets it rolling on a given night, he's a beast. He just doesn't always get it rolling. I think he's fantastic. And he's played well when I've seen him. He also has disappeared at times. He's a boomer bust pick. I again, 14th on my list. And I think, again, him and Camp Wagner were kind of put in a weird spot last year. Now this is their show. Let's see how they react.
The popcorn is already popping for Marcus Harding versus Chase Walker. Just watching those two bulls down low.
Yes, I sign me up to. I don't even. ESPN could change whatever their streaming service is 6 more times before the season starts. I will sign up for it and be there for Indiana State, Illinois State.
All right, we are. Let's see. I don't even know what pick we're up to anymore.
Well, it's my. I think you got 2 in a row there, so I'm.
I did.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh my gosh! Well, we'll give you 2 in a row. Listen.
This allows me to get more value.
Fair enough.
Because I'll be honest with you, when you brought up Johnson earlier, I went Birch because I thought continuity. Let's do Bradley back to back. I actually skipped over one of my guys. So the guy that I'm going to bring up now actually had 9th on my big board.
All right.
And so I like old guys. I like guys that have done it for a while, despite only doing it 1 year in the Valley. Here's a guy who transferred in from another former Valley school. And he also now, I believe...
You're such a Schweiger homer, aren't you?
I was going to say, man, he now has ownership over this last name. Like Valpo's Cooper, Carson, and now it's just Ben. And so I think it's Ben Schweiger, not Schweiger from Cooper.
God bless Cooper and Carson. My old man brain just melted multiple times last year. So I'm glad I can just it is Schweiger and Schweiger alone, and we're good to go.
Look, he averaged double figures, and he played a ton of minutes. This is the opposite of some of the other guys we're talking about. These other guys were saying like, oh, can he get to this many minutes? Can he get to this many minutes? Schweiger led Northern Iowa in minutes last year, and he was pretty consistent across the board in what he did. You like the shooting. He's almost 50% from the floor, 37% from the three-point line. Gets to the free. I'd like to see him shoot better from the free throw line. He's only 70% of the free throw line, but 5.5 rebounds per game, 56 assists, just does a little bit of everything. And on a team with other guys that do a little bit of everything, like a Trey Campbell. Schweiger's a Northern Iowa guy. I don't know how on earth he wasn't born into Northern Iowa's program. But Loyola had him for a little bit, and now he came here and he's got one more year. I think he's a really good pick. There we go. And a lot of value in my mind getting him as deep into this draft as we're going.
Yeah, I had him at 13, and I hated having him that low because, to your point, I just think that the size, again, now fitting in with Trey Campbell, fitting in with Leon Bond, able to be a little further down the scouting report a little bit, and be as just as efficient of a shooter and a scorer. The thing I like about him, not afraid to get his nose dirty. 5 rebounds a game for the season, got 6+ in 8 of the last 10 games. So really able, blue collar guy, get in there and work. Just to your point, prototypical UNI guy for Ben Jacobson. Well, since I was rude as a host, I went 2 in a row, so you get 2 in a row. And
well, let's do a quick. Just something stood out to me here.
Yes,
this is now our 3rd Northern Iowa guy.
Yes,
we've got 2 Bradley guys, 3 Illinois State guys, 1 Belmont, 1 Evansville, 1 Southern Illinois-ish guy, 1 Murray State guy. Who do we not have represented so far? Drake, UIC, Valpo. I think that might be it.
I think that is all.
And then, we're obviously never going to represent Missouri State again. So,
Wyatt Wheeler, take your Pizza Ranch and go elsewhere.
So let's go to the Windy City for my pick. UIC 11.5 points per game, Ahmad Henderson. So
I like it. I had him at 14. So
yeah, I just again, Jackson was a guy that led their team in scoring, but Henderson was right there. Didn't really understand why he didn't start every game. That he only started about half the games, and when we got into conference, he only started 6 games. Some guys need to watch the game develop for a couple minutes off the bench. I don't really understand, and so we're not in practice, but here's a guy that looks like he can do a little bit of everything as well. unlike Schwieger, I like the 88% free throw shooting. I like a little, 22 steals in conference. I like Henderson, and we'll see with another year under his belt, can he take a big jump forward?
From his freshman year at Niagara, the points were about the same, but his field goal percentage went up 4 points. His 3-point percentage went up 4 points. His free throw percentage went up 5 points. Rebounds were up. Assists were up. Just improved. And that's all you can ask for from freshman to sophomore. Certainly playing a Rob Eson's system fit him like a glove. I just love, and look, playing around Javon Jackson, Time Freeman. There's a lot of guards there that he was trying to navigate some real estate in, but I am a big fan of point guards that are closers. And for a dude that shot 90% from the free throw line for the season, when you get into late game scenarios and you're trying to close stuff out, Ahmad Henderson is that guy. So year 2 in Eson's system, and certainly, again, some of those other guys cleared out of there. I think he's got a chance to be really, really good. All right. Well, I think we did pretty well here. We've got one more.
What was that? What number are we on?
That was number 15. So it's time to drop the hammer and end this one. And I will get the 16th and final pick. And I know I'm going rogue here. I'm going rogue. And the fact that we didn't, we have, I think the orders were messed up a little bit once we certainly got the second half of this, but I think for the most part, we at least agree on the presence outside of one or two. But this is 100% a bias of what I saw with my eyes, and a bias of, I have seen the ceiling. And if he can hit that ceiling, look the hell out, the Missouri Valley. And it is Drew Charnowski from Belmont. And you just went, who? Drew Charnowski from Belmont. Shake that head, Paul Oren.
I'm going to the website.
We're going deep. 6'9", 225 pounds. Averaged 5.5 points a game last year. Had 4 double-doubles. Against Murray State, the Racers, on I believe it was a February day, he looked like he was about ready to go to the Hall of Fame. Had 20 points that day, career high. Shot 64%. He is built, as we talked with Casey Alexander a few weeks ago. He has a swimming background, so the distance from the edge of his shoulders to the distance of his waist, like he's a walking triangle from the waist up. He is an absolute beast. He is athletic as the day is long. Now, the problem is for him that he is going to have to earn his time is they've got Sam Orm. They've got Brigham Rogers down there, but it is a 3-headed monster. But if he is able to separate himself at all, I think this is an absolute, for me, last pick in the draft. We're going for value. I think there is a lot of ceiling for him. I've seen the ceiling. And if he can get anywhere near that ceiling, look the hell out.
I'm watching you talk about him thinking this is what Mel Kiper sounded like hyping up Shedeur Sanders for 3 days. Right? Like,
I'm not going to lie. I was kind of hoping you were going to go off the board a few other times. So I wasn't going to have to pick Drew Charnowski, and I was going to have one of my 10th guys going 16th. And I was going to be able to avoid this awkward situation with you. But I'm standing on business with Drew Charnowski right now.
No, here's the deal about Drew Charnowski. I don't have a deal with him. I've never met him. He did not play in Belmont's win over Valpo early in the conference season. And then when they came into the arc, he played 2 minutes, had 2 fouls and a turnover. That was it. Didn't take a shot. Only guy that played in the entire game for Belmont not to take a shot. Honestly, I had another guy from Belmont as number at the end, toward the end of my list. Sam Orm.
Yep, Sam Orm.
Yep. I had him on there. Again, the system, we talked about this with some of the other teams with Bradley, but the system at Belmont is the system, and they're, plug and play guys. And if it's Charnowski or if it's Orm or Lundblade, you're really not going to get any argument for me. I've never,
because you never even heard of him until
never even heard of him. He was not on my board at all. and he wasn't on the cutting room floorboard either. He was, but
he may be a penny stock baby, but I'm all in.
I like it. And again, this is not a knock on him. This is he didn't play in the games that I watched Belmont play. So
like I said, between Orm, between Rogers, he's probably the third of those three bigs. And it's a guard offense and they're shooting a lot of threes and all of it. But he was just dynamic athleticism. And like I said, just freaking just cut out of stone. And like I said, it looks like he just got done with the 200-meter backstroke when he comes walking in, but he's just everywhere. He's a fierce offensive rebounder, can finish around the rim. It's just, can he break through those other two guys and get some more time? But I've seen the ceiling, and the ceiling is high. Maybe it was just a racer-dependent ceiling on one day, but I thought he was great.
Drew Charnowski, you had my curiosity. Now you have my attention.
All right. Paul Oren.
So let's recap. Our player of the year as Chase Walker, who was my number one as well. The rest of the first team, Trey Campbell from Northern Iowa, Illinois State's Johnny Kinzinger, Belmont's Tyler Lundblade, Connor Turnbull from Evansville, and Camp Wagner from Indiana State. That is our 6-man first team preseason. Just returners. We need to stress again, all returners.
All returning team from the Missouri Valley. Our second team, we had Isaiah Stafford, swallow hard, Paul, Leon Bond from Northern Iowa, Javon Jackson from Murray State, Jaquan Johnson from Bradley, and Demarion Birch from Bradley as well. And was brought up in our comments that also Birch, part of his minute situation last year, and part of his was he got sick at some point in the middle of last year too, and missed several weeks of time. So a healthy Birch, Lookout Valley. And then our third team, all preseason returning team, Jack Doherty from Illinois State, Marcus Harding, Indiana State, Ben Schweiger from Northern Iowa, Ahmad Henderson from UIC, and the future legend, Drew Charnowski from Belmont.
So I had two guys on my top 16 that did not make the board. How many did you have from your top 16 that didn't make it?
I was 15 for 16 in the end. Javon Jackson, the only one that didn't make it. The other honorable mention probably for me was Drew Steffi from SIU. I think just a guy that kind of found his legs as the season went on, and with all the guys, Kennard Davis and Ali Deba leaving there, and now he's going to be able to have a more defined offensive role. And if he can shoot the ball the way he did, I think he can be a sleeper, an undrafted free agent here in this draft.
So Sam Orm, I think that's how you say his name.
Yes, Orm.
I had Landon Wolf 15th on my list from Illinois State, and again, a guy that was at Northern Iowa before. Just a couple notes from what I can tell. The guy that averaged the most amount of points that we did not include, albeit he was hurt for a lot of the year, RJ Taylor averaged 7.5 points a game in Northern Iowa, but I think he only played like 8 games or something like that. Two teams not represented, Drake and Valpo. All of Drake's guys left, just like all of Indiana State's guys left a couple of years ago. When we talked about this yesterday about doing this, I said, I don't know this Eli Shetler guy that was at Indiana State and then went to Drake, right? Like, he didn't play last year. He redshirted. We'll see. And then Valpo, my team that I cover, only's got one returning scholarship player. That's Justice McNair. Kind of played second fiddle as a freshman to all right last year. I expect a big jump up from Justice. And I think the talent at Valpo is going to be better overall than it was last year. So we'll see. Like, I can't wait. We talk about, we're doing this now because on Monday and Tuesday, practices start all across the country in the summer. And I can't wait to get in the gym and find out who the alpha males are on some of these teams. And for Valpo, I don't, Justice McNair could be a starter. He could be still coming off the bench. No idea.
I wanted you on here because you take this seriously, and for a completely ludicrous exercise, I think we did a pretty good job. So thank you for the time, and I guess now we can officially close the book on 24-25, and we can get after it.
I can't wait, man. I think it's going to be fun. I think a league where Illinois State is good again is the league that I kind of want to be involved in, because they've got such a spicy rivalry with Bradley, and Bradley's always kind of in the mix. Northern Iowa looks like they're going to be in the mix again, and Murray State, is the Valley added these brands a couple of years ago, and Murray State and Belmont and definitely Valpo have not necessarily yet been what they were in other conferences.
Yep.
I feels like Murray State's about to be who they were before. Belmont gonna be who they were before. Valpo's gonna be better this year than they were last year. I mean, you can't finish worse than 11th in a league without Pizza Ranch, but there we go. So hey, Jeff, love what you do. Cannot wait. Maybe if I can coerce in like August us doing this for all the newcomers, I'm trying to inch my way toward the 5-timers club so I can get a jacket. That's what we're looking for.
Will most certainly be smoking jacket and cigar. We'll have that for you at the lobby. So thank you for your time. Have a great weekend. We'll talk with you soon.
Thank you.
All right, there's Paul Oren. Catch his work, all of his work on Valpo Athletics over at thevictorybell.com. All right, now that we got that, again, mostly ludicrous exercise out of the way, and again, as we learned last year with Drake, I'm going to keep these 16 just so we can, for argument's sake, in March, look back and just see. But there are, to Paul's point from an hour ago, nobody had any idea who Bennett Sturtz was, and look out. So we'll see what the Valley is able to deliver this year with all of these newcomers from all around the country. All right, we've got just a couple headlines of the morning to get to, as we're running a little bit long this morning, but want to be able to just hit a couple of things quickly. We got some more scheduling news, and this is an exhibition news, but this is a big key for this year. That again, remember the rule changed where teams can now do, instead of these secret scrimmages, they can do public exhibition games with fellow Division I teams. And Indiana State has announced October the 29th, they're going to Hinkle Fieldhouse to play Butler. Again, doesn't count, but it's great for the fans. I'm just the whole secret scrimmage thing was crazy to me. Outside of, I understand that, coaches want to do some stuff under the dark of night where they can, stop the game or, work on certain things, and they don't need eyeballs and people judging whatever's going on. But man, when you can get games that maybe you couldn't get during the regular season, but you can at least get on the floor for an exhibition, it's great. And especially these interstate matchups, which are fans want to see. And it's going to be a great, opportunity for the kids from Indiana State. 2 years ago, of course, they went to Hinkle Fieldhouse NIT finals, but the team has flipped over entirely. Those guys to go to that historic venue, that is pretty good. We got I saw a tweet earlier this week from, or just yesterday maybe, from ESPN. Putting out that they were announcing the team brackets for the 2025 ESPN event going on in Orlando, the events going on in Orlando. As we told you, I believe last week, 2 weeks ago, there were multiple MTEs going on in Orlando this year. We knew Bradley was going to be down there. We knew Illinois State was going to be down there. And so we had the fields. Everybody was excited. We've got bracket. I mean, the press release and the tweet said ESPN announces team brackets. Apparently, the press release writers are unfamiliar with what the word brackets mean, because there are no brackets to be found. The only thing that we have done is this tournament, these 3 MTEs, which is 16 total teams, but it's broken into 3 different events. They have named the events. They have named the brackets. They have not actually put the teams in the brackets, but they have named the brackets. We have the Magic bracket, we have the Adventure bracket, and we have the Imagination bracket. Cool. Can we find out who they're playing? That would be helpful. Thank you, Disney, ESPN. Please. Thank you. For those scoring at home, Bradley is in the adventure bracket. They will be playing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. Illinois State is in the imagination bracket. They will be playing Thanksgiving Day and the day after. So if you are in Orlando, there's a whole lot of basketball to watch for 5 days down at the Wide World of Sports complex in Orlando. But as the folks at ESPN said at the very bottom of their press release, tickets will be available as soon as brackets are announced, which they kind of said they did in the first sentence of the press release, but we were lied to. Southern Illinois, Scott Nagy adding to his team with a brother of Rollins Aligbe, the freshman, bringing in now senior. I've got it. We're no longer. We flipped to the next year. So Rollins Aligbe, sophomore for SIU, bringing in senior Prince Aligbe, the brother of Rollins, who has spent 2 years at Boston College, last year at Seton Hall, started 29 games for the Pirates, double-digit scorer 14 times, averaged about 8 points a game, had 19 against Providence, 6'6" forward. Some big boys in that family. 6'6" Prince, 6'9" Rollins, but a guy at a higher level coming down that should be a very big help for Coach Nagy. Indiana State, on the women's side, getting a commitment from Nayla Abraham, 6'2", rising sophomore. She is from Maryland, played her freshman season at Delaware State, made 4 starts, played in 24 games, about 3 points, 2.5 rebounds, only played about 11 minutes a game. But head coach Mark Mitchell continuing to get size and having to replenish that entire roster after basically everybody got into the portal. Coach Mitchell will be with us next Monday. He will join us. So 10 days from now, he will join us. And finally this morning, Ashley Embracey at UIC announcing the signing of Crystal Ortiz, a 6-foot wing out of Oklahoma. She is a 6th-year senior. She got the COVID year. She got 1 year at the JUCO level. So now she's getting a 6th season. Played 3 years at Eastern Oklahoma State College, which was a junior college. Played 1 year at the University of Science and Arts of Oklahoma. That's an NAIA school. Last year, a Division II school of Southern Arkansas. Played 1 year there, and now she's at UIC. A lot easier to fit UIC on a T-shirt than those prior stops. But averaged about 10.6 rebounds a game last year at Southern Arkansas. But kind of neat for her to kind of go through the progression of going junior college, NAIA, Division II, and now going to finish her career at the Division I level at UIC. There is talk, and we have run way too long today, so this will be more of a Monday conversation, but NCAA President Charlie Baker was at the Big 12 meetings this week, and he is in the process of going through the talks to expand the tournament from 68 to either 72 or 76. We heard about this last summer. It was quiet for 6-9 months, and now it's back, and the conversation has gone full throttle, and they want that tournament to expand by 2026. 9 months from now. So there are a lot of moving pieces with this. There's a lot of reasons I think it could happen, but one very big reason why I do not think it's going to happen. But that's the headline of the day is that the president they are in talks and they are trying to move forward to get this thing to 72 or 76 by this coming March. But we will go into the weeds on that coming up on Monday. All right, that does it for today. Thanks for watching. If you have not done so already, head on over to YouTube, search out Morning in the Valley, subscribe to that page, like, share, comment, all that good stuff so we can continue to get this out in front of all our Missouri Valley Conference friends. Thanks to Paul Oren from thevictorybell.com for his help today as we did our preseason all returners for the Missouri Valley Conference. Everybody on campus next week, and the summer workouts begin. And I can't wait to continue to bring you coverage from around the Valley with the 2025-26 editions of these rosters from all across the conference. All right, that does it. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday morning, 9 a.m. right here on Morning in the Valley.